Hello guys, how are you? And welcome to my channel Shining Rohan. Today in this video I am going to cover some topics on Earth and the universe. So let's get started. Here comes our first topic, the solar system. The solar system consists of 8 planets and 1 star. Just now I said a star. Now you might be thinking, a star. Where is a star? The sun is only a star. The sun is a big, huge ball of fire, or in other words, a star. So, moving on to the planets. The first planet is Mercury. Mercury is very small and rocky. It is close to the sun, and also it's the second hottest and takes the least time to revolve the sun. And you might be wondering, even though it's closer to the sun, but it's not the hottest, but it is the second hottest. How? If you want to know the hottest planet, it's just the second planet in our solar system. It is none other than Venus. Venus is the hottest planet and it is also known as the bright star of our solar system. Even though it's not a star, from the earth it is very bright. You can see it on dawn and dusk. Also, it is the twin planet of Earth because Earth and Venus are similar in size. Venus has many volcanoes, and those volcanoes are also huge and big. And another thing, Venus is so hot that if we were living over there, we would just die soon of that heat. This heat comes from the sun and also its thick atmosphere. Moving on to the third planet, the Earth. The Earth is the place where we live. Earth consists of an atmosphere, 71% of water and 29% of land. These all substances make the earth able to live. That is why we can live on the earth. Moving on to the next planet, Mars. Mars is also a rocky planet and it is very small, but not as small as Mercury. It is little bit larger than Mercury. Mars is also known as the red planet because of its iron oxide in its soil. Mars has a thin atmosphere and it is a little bit cold over there. Do you know the tallest mountain on earth is Mount Everest? But do you know the tallest mountain in the solar system? Yes, it is Olympus Mons. It is situated in Mars. It is almost 3 times the height of Everest. So then, moving on to the next planet, Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system and it also has 79 moons. And also it has small rings which are made up of dust and rock. And they are very small and thin compared to Saturn. Jupiter is a gas planet. That means if we fall into it, the chances might be we cannot land. There is no hard surface on Jupiter. That's why from Jupiter to Neptune, these planets are called gas giants. Even the Jupiter has a big red spot. It's like a storm or a hurricane, which is over and over from 200 years. Almost two and a half, 2.5 Earths can fit into it, the red spot. So, moving on to the next planet, Saturn. This is the second largest planet and one of the beautifulest planet also. This is so beautiful because of its rings. These rings are thin but thick. These rings are made up of ice, rocks, and dust. Saturn is also a gas giant. Do you know Saturn is dense enough to float on water? And also, these gas giants are made up of mainly hydrogen and helium. Now, moving on to the seventh planet and the ice giant known as Uranus. Uranus is the second farthest planet from the sun in our solar system. Uranus has a tilt and axis of 98 degrees. That means a planet has its rotation like this, but Uranus rotates on its side, and its revolution is 84 days, and a part of Uranus gets sunlight for 42 years and another part gets no light for another 42 years. That means a day on Uranus is 84 years. Sorry. And even Uranus has thin rings, which are 13 of them. And Uranus also has 27 moons. Okay then, moving on to the next planet, Neptune. Neptune is also a blue planet and an ice giant. Like Jupiter, Neptune also has two storms, the great dark spot and the smaller dark spot. These two are those storms. But do you know the Neptune takes 168 years to revolve around the sun, and it is the farthest planet from the sun. This was Neptune. And moving on to a dwarf planet, which was a real planet before 2006. It's Pluto. Pluto is very small, even smaller than Mercury. In 2006, there was a new definition for a planet, and Pluto failed on that definition, so it was called as a dwarf planet. Now the first topic, the solar system, is completed. Moving on to the next topic, latitudes. Latitudes run parallel to the earth, like sleeping, horizontally parallel. Now let's see the main latitudes. The first latitude is the equator. The equator is 0 degrees. Its angle, it's 0 degrees, and the equator divides the earth into two halves, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Moving on to the second latitudes. The second latitude is Tropic of Cancer, which is 23.5 degrees to the north. And the third latitude is Tropic of Capricorn. It is also 23 degrees and a half, but to the south. Moving on to the Arctic Circle, which is over here, it is 66.5 degrees to the north. And here it is the Antarctic Circle. This is 66.5 degrees but to the south. Here is the North Pole, 90 degrees north. South Pole is here, 90 degrees south. So these are the latitudes. Moving on to the next topic is longitudes or longitudes. These are the longitudes. The longitudes run parallel from the North Pole to the South Pole. Now we saw that equator divides the earth into north hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Like the equator also, there is another longitude which is called Greenwich or prime meridian. This line runs across South Africa and through the Sahara Desert and through Greenwich, which is situated near London. These are imaginary lines which help us to tell time, location, and even temperature also. Not only these longitudes, even those latitudes. So this Greenwich or prime meridian divides the earth into western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. So moving on to the next topic, the layers of the earth. The earth consists of crust, mantle, outer core and inner core. Yes, there are three parts, just core is further divided into two more parts. So let's get into that. The crust. The crust is just the part where we stand. And do you know a fun fact? The crust is thinner in the seas and thicker on the land. That is the crust. So moving on to the next layer is mantle. This mantle consists of molten rocks and molten iron and nickel. Moving on to another layer, outer core. This consists of liquid iron and nickel, and it is also very hot. It is just the outer covering of the inner core. Moving on to the last but not the least part, the inner core. This temperature in the inner core can be as hot as the sun's temperature. It's exactly 1000 degrees Fahrenheit. And this inner core is made up of again two metals, more solid hot and solid molten nickel and hot solid molten iron. Now this was the layers of the earth. Moving on to the next topic, the constellation. Constellations is nothing but a group or cluster of stars which make and join lines like this. This is a famous constellation known as Leo. There are many other constellations like the Ursa Major, also known as the Big Dipper. It is in the shape of a bear. This constellation Leo is one of the famous, and if you join them, the scientists have found that this constellation has relation with a lion, cat, or some other cat family animals. So this was for our video for today. If you like this video, like, share and comment, and don't forget to hit that big red button, subscribe. Please do subscribe my channel, and if you do subscribe, hit the bell icon And if I make any mistakes, let me know in the comment section below.